Try the clicker. If it doesn't work, then I'll do it, man.
Yeah. Sorry, we're shrimpy. Well, I think I speak for both of us when I say that we feel really honored to be here. Thank you, Tanya. But especially, amongst our brothers and contemporaries, who have immortalized us. It's very strange to be on that end. Normally, we're the ones doing it, so that was a shock. And actually, I saw Kev earlier today because he was the commencement speaker at the Oakland School for the Arts graduation, where I'm teaching again for a little bit. But something that's really special about that wall is that there's 2 OSA teachers on that wall. So many students have been like, Miss Marina, I saw you. I didn't do it, my brothers did it. But it's pretty awesome. And Mr. Choi's too. So,
I mean, same thing. It is an honor to be a part of this amazing community. Like Marina and I feel so lucky that we, grew up seeing murals, and it always seemed just like foreign. Like we didn't know how those happened to become. And as we, went to art school and started meeting muralists, and then Marina and I both worked. Came up through Presida as muralists. Susan Cervantes is our mentor, and I've known her since I was 14. I was like a little kid in high school, and very, very overwhelmed and amazed by murals. And to be given the chance to be able to paint something large was world-changing for me. I was a pretty shy kid, so I didn't really talk, but painting was a way to express myself. And Marina and I have known each other since high school, so.
Both went to, now Ruth is out up at School of the Arts. Used to be behind SF State in this teeny tiny elementary school buildings, and the toilets were like down to there. It was hilarious. But Elaine and I would be there, especially our last 2 years. I feel like we were there a lot at night, even with our teacher, and she'd drive us home because we'd be working so much. But, we stayed in touch, and Susan Cervantes put us on a project when Elaine came home from being off in college and living elsewhere. She was on the East Coast painting, and it just clicked. It just made sense. We didn't like that project either, but
we never show anybody that mural project, but but it was important because it brought us together and realized that we could work together. Marina said the other day, like, we've never had a fight or argument, which we have.
Really haven't.
And we've been painting as Twin Walls Mural Company for 13 years, so I'm pretty happy to have grown together and created a visual language where our styles speak to one another, just like Hungry Ghost. And so this was one of our this is our second collaboration
mural that we did, and it's on 25th and Orange, so just behind Valencia Street. It was on the side of this little store called Frida's Closet, which is why we painted Frida Kahlo. And there's a few things that we wanted to really tie her into San Francisco, as well as her being Mexican. Like, Chicano is growing up half Chicana. My mom's here, she's the fool. In the mission was really important because we claimed Frida even before this was like a phenomenal thing, every now she's on mugs and stuff. But this was actually the first mural dedicated to Frida Kahlo, I think in the States that we found. It was only Mexico at the time. And, we wanted to kind of parallel things from the States and from Mexico. So the dahlias are actually the San Francisco flower, but they're also the national flower of Mexico. So that was just one of the things.
Yeah, and this was, Marina was living in New York at the time when we designed this, so we just kind of shipped it back and forth, and then she came for a week, and we painted it in 6 days. So yeah, that was a really important piece. And you know, when we first started out, we were just like, okay, we'll paint murals here and there, but we didn't really think it was like a career. We just enjoyed painting together, and after this, it just like we got more and more work. So.
And I feel like this was kind of like our introduction sort of into some realism. Like we did it a little bit before, but you know, we wanted to not make her the pretty makeup-y looking version that you always see her, like painted, she's sexualized. This was her just being herself, like in a garden with the animals. She loved animals, so.
And yeah, Marina and I come from a community mural arts background through Pursued Eyes, so we've worked with many different neighborhoods all over the city. And integrating a lot of different ideas. So that's always been a really big important part of our work, is to get input from the community and to hear what you all want to see and say, and your stories which inspire us. So that's kind of been our main driver in a lot of our work. Oops. Oh, sorry, too fast. Okay.
This is painted in formerly Twitter headquarters downtown. Then it was the X with the buffoon, and now we don't know if it's up or not. It's sad because it's upstairs and it's painted directly on the wall. It is from a group organized at Twitter at the time called She Inspires Me, and they initially had wanted us to paint the Women's March, and we just didn't, for one, we didn't want to paint a whole bunch of signs and
pussy hats and
yeah, the Women's March isn't always inclusive of everyone, and there were so many women that need to be paid tribute to, that need the flowers, that are not going to be at those marches. So we decided to collect our own. So this is inspired women who have inspired us, Elaine and I, but also our close friends who are people who inspire us. We asked them what women are inspiring you. So a lot of these are local heroes. They're all, and this isn't even all of them. We actually painted a lot more and we couldn't get the picture, so.
Yeah, and a lot of our work includes a lot of symbolism, so like water. The composition turned out to be, when we looked at it after, we were like, wow, this is it's like a uterus, and it's just a sea of women coming toward you. So sometimes, things just kind of happy, happenings. But yeah, we just really love playing with symbolism and storytelling and and showing hidden figures.
And we like to do this little thing in our work. It's called the silent fuck you, which this kind of was because it's an office full of white men, pretty much. And so we kind of wanted to bring our people into that space. So it's a lot of really rebellious women up on this mural. And we wanted to show generations too, that you have, like, that's what's in the center, is the mom, the infant, and the grandma, to show continuation and legacy as well. But it was funny that we got asked questions like, well, why'd you paint black women in the middle of your painting? People ask weird stuff.
Yes, that's one thing about working in the public, even though this was an office building, but even when we're working in the public as women and short, shrimpy women, we get, do you need help, or are you okay?
Are you a student?
Are you painting this? Is like the biggest one, which I'm like, no, I'm just here with the but it's interesting just like how people see us and why we continue to want to paint really big. But even with this one, a lot of people who were sitting in front of the mural were all men, and they were just like, why did you paint only women? So it was like very interesting how murals talk to different people.
And now it's a chorus of women who, they have to suffer looking at it.
Hopefully they'll look them up. This one we just restored earlier this year. Well, it's on 18th and Valencia, which is on the side of a taqueria, and the building owner is awesome. And this mural is really important because it actually happened during like a really crazy time. You know, I had my first daughter, and then Marina.
It had just been diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. So we had designed it, we had planned to do this mural, and then we both got hit with both of those situations, really. So what started as, you know, us painting on the wall, I couldn't actually get through past my second round of chemo because it was too strong. And so
we brought in the community. Yeah. Marina brought OSA students who helped us get through this, and it was you know, a really important mural. So I'm glad that the building owners continue to want us to take care of it, and we've extended it, and it's just a really important mural that kind of led us to a lot of the healing themes that we've continued on in the last 5-6 years in a lot of our work.
And Susan Cervantes actually that's kind of her coaching too, under the surface. I don't even think she knows if she taught us that, but the idea that you can heal yourself through painting. Whatever you paint, you're manifesting, so better make it something good, because that's what you want to see. If you're going to show something bad, you want to show the outcome of that.
You're putting that energy into the universe.
Yeah. And so when we first got this wall, we were allowed to do whatever we wanted. The owner's very sweet, and her son Alfie lives here. And so Elaine said, what about hummingbirds? And I was like, yes, hummingbirds, except for, wait a minute, they are the Aztec war god is hummingbirds. And Elaine and I had both been almost mugged directly in front of this wall before we even knew we got this wall. A big giant knife. This little kid was like, it was a big butcher knife, and he was like trying to get us. And so, you know, I was like, there's too much of that crazy testosterone bad energy of like war and just suffering. So we're gonna switch that. We'll still put them there, but because it was 2 boys that were trying to mug, not just us, but our friends behind us. But so they're surrounded by women goddesses, Aztec women goddesses. So Donancin's feet are on the bottom. That's what you're seeing. Those sculptural feet kind of coming out. And yeah, you could, flowers again. Oh my gosh, so it should be me, and then we have the corn god in the middle. Oh gosh, Koyoshalki, yes. In the middle, on top, is the moon goddess, and normally in that legend she's pictured, they found her in Mexico City, this big giant tablet, and she's cut up into pieces because the story is that she tried to save her mom, Donancin, who was gonna give birth to the Aztec war god, and she was gonna have to sacrifice her mom. She didn't want to do it, but because she got found out, her brother popped out of her mom and cut her up and threw her down the mountain. So that's normally how you see her, but we wanted to see her put back together again.
And this became symbolic of Marina's healing, with all of us helping the community, helping to put Marina
together,
become whole again after her cancer treatment. And yeah, I think we did a good job.
No visible signs of cancer, by the way. So yes, this mural worked. Me and my hospital smock.
Oh, you can't see it. This was the extension of that mural. It's really beautiful, and it also was a really another important piece. Was all about fertility, and it worked. I think Marina and I both had.
I had a miracle baby. Elaine had a baby.
We manifested it in the wall. This was painted at the beginning of COVID.
2020. And we're kind of seeing parallels between the Mission District, where, you know, I grew up, and Elaine spent a good majority of her time growing up as an adult too, Cressida. But during COVID, we're getting hit the hardest here as far as neighborhoods in San Francisco. And at the same time, like, the Navajos were getting hit the hardest there, and they weren't getting any support. So we wanted, this was a Paint the Void project. Really, honestly, that happened because my friend reached out and was like, Marina, please paint something because there's a lot of bad stuff going up. Please.
Everybody decided they could become a muralist during COVID.
So we painted this on the Buffalo Exchange building. We did it off-site, but then brought it.
Yeah.
It's painted in panels and then it was put up.
Yeah, it's on panels. It needs a new home.
Yeah.
It's not working. Oh, okay.
In the neighborhood, actually.
This was also painted during COVID in Oakland, downtown Oakland. Our friend Cece Carpio, another amazing muralist. She was like, okay, we come paint downtown. And there was the Black Lives Matter protests, and it was really important to be putting meaningful work up at the time. And Pancho was out there painting right across from us. It was exciting, yeah. We painted this in 3 hours and felt the energy of everybody, and it just seemed like a really important time in history.
And this piece was, we were thinking about different things happening in Oakland, but also on a national, global scale, and thinking about these systems and how these systems of oppression need to be shut down. Especially when it comes to incarceration and this horrible cycle where you start people young and there's no room for them to grow, and then their kids have the same situation. So trying to break out of those chains, those situations, gotta shut it down.
I think you, yeah.
Okay. I'm a little too trigger happy. This was also definitely showing a couple from COVID times, but this one was also with anti-Asian violence happening, and especially towards elders. So a lot of our work is, with different communities, but also our Chinese community. And we wanted to give strength to the elders, and by showing amazing activists, Asian American activists, Yuri Kuchiyama, Grace Lee Boggs, and Violetta Marasagan. And we've been able to show this piece at a number of different places, and want to continue sharing it. But then we also, again, just kind of like David Burke, we show the older generation and then the younger generation who are just moving things forward, who are featured on the side.
And this hand with the bat is actually part of the story that happened in SF. Zhao Zhenji was attacked by a homeless man, and she's an older woman, and she picked up this 2x4, whatever was next to her, and beat the crap out of him in self-defense. So we wanted to show that, yes, the youth are there to support and should be protecting the elders, but it's even more awesome when the elders can protect themselves. They shouldn't have to, but they're badasses.
I don't know how much time we have. Sorry.
Yeah, whenever. Lito helped on this one.
Yes,
Glen Park.
you paint a lot with Pablo too.
So,
Again, we love to show the natural history of the area, and but again, we have our silent FUs in there too. We wanted to focus, the land before people, like how animals and the native indigenous peoples thrives before development.
because the Glen Park Neighborhood Association, I think, is the ones who organized to paint this, and they wanted their history, and we were like, yeah, that's cool, but what makes Glen Park is so beautiful is the actual landscape and the animals. So
Pablo painted a lot of those parts.
Yeah.
Yay, Pablo. Yeah.
it's at the Chinese Historical Society. It's at Bruce Lee. Pablito worked on this one with us too. So this is our largest mural to date.
Yeah. Downtown San Francisco.
Commercial and Liedesdorf.
Yeah. We like to focus on this part, and even though the mural is about Captain Liedesdorf, who was one of the founders of San Francisco, this part of the mural focuses on the future and the youth. We wanted to show the youth and a beautiful future led and driven by diversity and
Forward movement towards
Forward
what we want, which is, sustainability, green, more greens. There's the Peggy. So this is painted in the Bayview district. The owner of the building reached out to us. This is just a fragment of it. It's actually much longer. But she wanted to pay tribute to her father who had just passed away. Also, this building used to be their family business. They had a textiles company. So they are Indian from Africa. Same part, right, Tracy? Wait, yeah, same part as where Elaine's family is from Africa. So it's kind of cool because Elaine's Chinese, but her peeps are from Africa. So we just, we went to her house, we went to her sister's and her mom's house and looked at all the different fabrics. They had so many beautiful textiles. It was really hard to choose what we wanted to put in and not put in, but it was a big factor. So that's kind of where we started.
yeah, so weaving all the stories and the culture and all the different things that inspired us for this family and in the neighborhood, which is in the Bayview. And Justine, Marina's mom, helped us so much on this mural. So fun.
The extra twinsy.
There was so much detail. Well, definitely, it was fun because the owner gave us full reign. Like usually when we have a project, there is limitations on theme and what they want to see, but this was just really rare for us to have a client that was like, just paint whatever you want to paint.
Dream jobs.
Yeah. And this was another part of it.
And those were for African fertility dolls that were in her daughter's room. So this mural also became about fertility.
Also, one of our friends had a baby after
That's
too.
true.
After he helped out.
Trying to get pregnant, go rub the ball.
I don't wanna look at it.
Yeah, we had so much fun on this project. And then this is our one of our last murals. We did it. Marina was pregnant. She was up there, 40 feet on the lift. And it's in Chinatown in San Francisco, where we're painting another mural right now on Wong Kim Ark. And if you, he pretty much, his case helped establish the 14th Amendment. So this is just down the street, yeah. And this one was, a commercial job, but it was really fun because we got to paint with two of our other brothers, also from the East Bay, who are amazing muralists, and one who's going to be featured in the next love letter. So we just have such a wonderful community of artists and talent that we all love collaborating with one another. And, also the older generation, like Galvez, we're all inspired and we've learned from. And you guys get paved the way for us to paint because we didn't think that was possible. And so now, we just have a lot of fun with it. And with color and, yeah.
Did you actually paint that on the brick?
No, this was actually, they installed this vinyl onto the wall and it's not there anymore. It was like a 1-year project. So unfortunately it's gone, but it was
The neighborhood's really sad about it, actually. We hear about it a lot.
yeah. We got all the kids playing basketball and all the elders playing basketball. They would just be our audience every day. So, painting outside, you just have the sounds, the elements. It was also Chinese New Year. There was fireworks going on. So it's never a dull moment when you're out there painting.
And, well, you might tell them why you had to paint on that,
On the vinyl, because the brick was pretty crumbly and old, and it might have been a
I
historic.
think it's a historic one too because there's a vintage sign underneath it, so they didn't want to mess with the building.
Yeah, but it was almost better because I was kind of worried that there was lead in the old paint too. So.
So where's the mural now? You said that you took
So
it
they
down.
took it, it's gone,
But
the
it-
garbage.
All right.
But that's
Stole it, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. That's kind of the thing with painting public or working with public art. You just don't know. I would say most of our work we want it to last at least 20 years, but it's okay.
If we have to touch up a little bit, it is what it is, you know. We're used to it.
Beautiful.
Thank you. That's it. Any questions? Yeah.
Is there any, like, certain neighborhoods, certain cities, if it's a historic building, you just can't do whatever you want with it? Are there any rules or laws like that about murals in San Francisco?
Oh, if
Like, once you paint it and it's like a treasure, can just the new owner of the building get rid of it?
no.
Oh, well, yes and no. I think that, I forget what the law is. I mean, there's this whole thing about Wayland.
Very loud.
Fair law, thank you. You have to inform, I believe, the artist 30 days at least in advance. Is that right, Carlos? Oh,
Yeah, I had a question. I found it interesting in that you mentioned in the beginning you were kind of fell into muralism by accident. I mean, you didn't have an internal drive to be a muralist initially.
Well, I never thought it was like a way to make income. It was just like, oh yeah, painting murals is so much fun. And then even in art school, I had a lot of teachers that discouraged me from painting murals because I did love it. Like I wanted to paint murals, and they were like, oh no, you don't want to do that. That's not real art. So, but I went to school in the East Coast, and I think it would have been different here. But I was like, that's not true. Like the best artists and murals I've seen growing up are, artwork I've seen growing up with murals. So I, just always came back to it for me. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
not me.
I find it so surprising. I mean, to be a muralist, half of you already has to want to be one. I mean, you're a nut enough that you want to create on an entire side of a building, which is not your normal thought. Sadly, you almost fell into it, and then you enjoyed it. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't think I could do it. So Elaine's a boss. She's my boss too, but she was definitely like in it in high school, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna take that internship. I'm gonna take another one. And I didn't, even though I had helped on murals before, and I think technically my first mural that I helped out on was Johanna Poetics when I was like 5. I didn't do anything until I was like, ending high school, and I volunteered. And then somebody just had me volunteer and said, oh, can you paint this portrait on the wall? And I was like, I can't paint murals. Paint the portrait, Marina, okay. And then made me paint other portraits, and I had painted a whole section, and I was like, oh, maybe I can paint murals. Maybe it's not as scary as I made it up in my head. But yeah, I didn't want to do it initially. I was like, oh no, that's too big. I can't do that.
But also painting murals together with your best friend just makes it more fun. Like it's just not really work. I mean, it is work because it's physical, but we always have a good time and we enjoy creating something together. And really, we make up one brain. Like. When I can't figure something out, she does.
Better half.
I have a question. Between San Francisco and Oakland, San Francisco is more like the artist way, but Oakland is in your face. It's what I noticed when I drove by. What is the reason of this change of muralism? You can see something different between San Francisco and Oakland.
I mean, you've been in the game longer, Galvez. That might be a question for you. I feel like they both, like Oakland has such a different flavor. I mean, they're the Bay, so they're both uniquely beautiful in different aspects. And I feel like the culture surrounding murals here is very specific to maybe a little bit more politics and culture in the mission. So it's very Latino. It's like, yeah, the Haight Street artists kind of started off even, I think, before the ones in the mission. And so I feel like there's a different kind of tradition there. Whereas in Oakland, I feel like it was political, but from like the point of view of like you had Panthers out there, you had, activists that were well, in East Oakland, but doing it just a little bit differently. It wasn't as small, so they feel like they had more room to like boss up and be more in your face a little bit. Maybe not though, I don't know, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's different because it's spread out in the East Bay, and here, like, the murals are very concentrated in certain areas, like the Mission, where pretty much the first time I saw a mural was in the Haight, and then coming to the Mission, I was just like blown away, even though I grew up in the city. Like, I didn't spend that much time in the Mission until high school, and was just like, wanted to absorb all the mural culture, you know, and seeing Galvez's Carnaval mural, and the East Bay, there is just, again, with graffiti and like the rich mural history, it's all very tied and connected to each other, but also, yeah, the communities there. Yeah.
Is there any specific artist that you would say that directed your creative process, like how it influenced you before you started painting murals?
Wait, say it again?
Influences to your creative process before you started painting murals? Was there any specific artists?
I have lots, but my main one is sitting to your right. I'm not kidding. My mom was a photojournalist growing up, so my eyes comes from her eye. So I think, you know, there's things that we don't even notice till way later, and you know, detail. Yes, I'm slightly obsessive compulsive in the way of fine
All
details.
those beads on that one mural, all those beads were painted. Individual.
And I think, you know, we've had art moms, obviously, Susan's a big influence too, but, and I think just growing up here in the city, like, I saw your mural. I mean, it was one of the first ones, and my mom took photographs of Carnaval, but to see something painted that was more realistic. I mean, I grew up by the other one on 21st. So I think just that saturation of being in a culture of all these amazing murals, a lot of whom also were women and painting things that weren't overly political too, that were more social, but even in that, you know, smaller aspect ended up being political as well, was something that I could relate to culturally, because I grew up, you know, in primarily a Mexican family. So, yeah, I don't know. I think there's so many of them.
Well, and Johanna Pote was a friend of mine. So I had introduced Marina when she was 5, and I told her, oh, my daughter can paint. She said, she's a little young to work on a mural. And so she said, well, bring her. And she was working on a mural at Bodecker Park. And so I brought Marina, she said, bring her anytime. Because she, at that young age, she could understand, you know, because the painters, they have you have a language. Yeah. And so Johanna knew that she could understand, Marina could get the direction. And she could paint big or draw big and wasn't afraid of doing that. And then Ray Potlan was a friend of mine. So I had these friends that I would introduce to Marina, and then they would teach her tricks, you know, as she was growing up. So we were very fortunate that I knew these people that, you know, they taught her, like Carlos, from the Mission Cultural Center. He was working at SOMAR, and so he taught her some things too when she was growing up. So, you know, all these, we were lucky that she had all these different people, you know, that we were in the city that could teach her.
Yeah, sure. Like, we're just lucky, Marina and I, growing up in the Bay and being around seeing so many amazing murals that I didn't even know who painted them, but they left an impression on my, you know, in my head that, oh, that's how you create something big, that's how you compose, or the colors. And so yeah, we're really lucky. And Marina and I also had a really important high school teacher, Mrs. Panone, who really just like opened our eyes to really expressing ourselves.